But if you look at the mental benefits of having your catecholamines, dopamine, norepinephrine, and epinephrine, systemically elevated to 2 to 3x for 4 to 6 hours after a 30-second to 3-minute protocol, you're not going to show me a drug or a form of exercise that can do that.
For me, the best thing for sleep is sauna. Like sauna pre-sleep is amazing.
Well, do you know why that is?
Why is that?
It's really interesting. When you heat the surface of your body, you would think, oh, my whole body temperature is getting really hot. But if I were to measure your core body temperature, what happens is your medial preoptic nucleus of the hypothalamus says, oh, the surface of my body is really hot. I'm going to cool down my core temperature. And falling asleep at night requires a 1 to 3 degree drop in bodily temperature. And when you wake up in the morning, you have a 1 to 3 degree increase in bodily temperature in the morning. That triggers a cortisol spike. That triggers norepinephrine. And then you start waking up. So body temperature and the ability to fall asleep and stay asleep and wake up are very tightly correlated. But your whole circadian rhythm is temperature driven. And so, for instance, you probably have a best time of day for you to work out where you feel best. You probably, if I were to have you train at 2 a.m. when you went to bed at a couple hours before, you'd feel miserable. You're not going to perform as well. Grip strength in the middle of the night. I wake you up, I take your grip strength measurement. It's going to be strong, but not as strong as it would be at your peak time during the day. If we looked at your body temperature, we'd find that your grip strength is weakest when your body temperature is lowest. So you'd say, well, I'm asleep. That's why. But there's an easy experiment. This has been done. We just keep you awake for 24 hours. We measure your body temperature. It has a very regular circadian rhythm. That persists. And we measure grip strength. That's been done numerous times. People living in caves, they've done those experiments.
Have they done experiments where people do the sauna and then work out? Because of grip strength, and if it's tied to body temperature, if you can raise your core body temperature from the sauna.
Sauna's dropping your core body temperature.
The inside of it.
Yeah.
But even while you're at peak sauna, you're sweating like a pig?
So at some point, you won't be able to thermoregulate anymore, and then your body temperature will go up and you can become hyperthermic.
So when you are in the sauna and it's 210 degrees and you're sweating like a pig, your body temperature is lower?
Your core body temperature is fighting to get lower. And when you get out, your core body temperature continues to go down.
It plummets.
That's right. And the exact opposite happens when you get in the cold plunge. You feel cold on the surface, so your body goes, oh shit. Hypothalamus, again, medial preoptic area, gets a signal from, if you think about how beautiful this mechanism is, I still get goosebumps, no pun intended, when I think about it. You have receptors on your skin surface that sense cold. Send that to your hypothalamus, which says, it's cold out there. I'm going to generate heat. How do I generate heat? Well, there are two things you can do. I can make you shiver, which will generate heat, or I can make you move. Shivering is just another form of moving. Or I can activate this very specialized fat tissue, which is not under the skin. It's not subcutaneous fat, but it's around your critical organs, which is the brown fat. Activate the mitochondria there, and basically at that very core level, get electrons moving, and the brown fat in turn activates the thermogenic system and starts heating you up.
Wow.
It's so crazy. And then what's beautiful is that the brown fat has a sort of memory of that experience. So even after you get out, you're walking around right now. I did cold plunge this morning. You did cold plunge this morning, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So your body temperature is about 1 to 3 degrees hotter, probably about 1 or 2 degrees hotter than it normally would be. Dopamine's getting cranked out. And so all day long, you're warmer at, let's say, cool ambient temperature.
The cold in the morning, the other thing that it does when I get out is it makes me really fucking happy, which is what you were talking about with the dopamine raise. It's so significant. It is a joy of life feeling. And then as I start my workout, I generally start really slow. I just do a lot of shadow boxing, and maybe I'll skip a little rope to try to get my blood up. And then once I do that for a few minutes, then I have a series of 100 push-ups and 100 body weight squats that I do every day. So I go through that, and that's my warm-up for everything else, because it's pretty low stress, low impact, very easy to do. And then by the time the 100 squats and 100 push-ups are done, I'm warm. And then I start whatever workout I'm going to do. But god damn, I feel happy.
Yeah. Well,
the people that are trying to avoid it because, fucking, it doesn't do anything. Shut up. Just do it. Stop your excuses and stop arguing about it. You're only arguing about it because you don't want to experience discomfort. I know what you're doing. You know what you're doing. We all know what you're doing. Shut the fuck up. Just get in there. Just do it. It's great for everybody. And if you can't fucking handle it, don't talk about it. But don't pretend that it's not good for you. It's nonsense. It's one of the most, you could sell that shit in a pill, it would be so valuable. I mean, how many people are on SSRIs and they're like, I kind of feel better?
Well, first of all, I completely agree with you. Completely agree. And I'm not again, Craig Heller in our biology department at Stanford has been talking in this general theme for a long time. Anna Lemke, who you had on here, talked about patients of hers who got sober using cold plunges. You say, well, how did they get sober using cold plunges? You just, taking one addiction and replacing it with another? No. What's very clear is that when you're suffering or you're lazy or you're procrastinating, doing something that's harder than the state that you're in bounces you back much faster.
Yes.
This is all based in the dynamics of dopamine. It's sort of crazy. If you know how people are procrastinating to write something and they start cleaning the house?
Yeah.
Something they normally don't want to do. Well, it's just something that's easier than the thing that you're supposed to do.
Right.
It turns out, and I learned this from Anna, if you do something that's even harder than the thing that you're trying to avoid, all of a sudden you're able to do that. And you're like, oh, okay, well, it's just psychology, right? No, it's not psychology alone. It's psychology, but once dopamine is deployed at that level, you're a different person. And I know this because if you take someone's dopamine and lower it, that makes them depressed. That gives them, if you lower it even more and give them movement disorder, Parkinson's. If you give them their dopamine back, their focus increases. How do I know that? There's a reason there's an ADHD drug shortage right now. Ritalin, Adderall, they all tap into this system, the dopaminergic and adrenaline norepinephrine system. So one of the most prescribed and overprescribed classes of drugs is the drug designed to try and get exactly this effect of cold plunges. And so I completely agree. If people would just take a very cold shower or a very cold plunge, or a little bit longer at 50 degrees, although I agree with you that shorter, colder is better. What I didn't describe, and I'm not trying to rescue myself here, but I do that daily. But then on Tuesdays is the typical day where I do very, very hot and very, very cold back and forth for well over an hour back and forth.
You do that serious growth hormone increasing protocol.
Yeah. I'm trying to condition myself to really be able to tolerate heat and cold.